Kia ora and welcome to Aotearoa, New Zealand, land of the long white cloud, land of first light and long threshold to the universe. And so beautiful to have you with us from all around the planet today, because so much has been moving through the field since we met 2 weeks ago. And it's very exciting to meet you all on this new moon. For some, a blue moon, and what we've just discovered is a black moon, very similar to a leap year. So we've got a whole lot ending and beginning at this time of the Gregorian calendar, New Year's Eve in Aotearoa. So let us begin by aligning the bodies so that the information that we're here to share with one another has a free flow between the space, in the spaces in between. Inviting you to stand up, sound, breathe, and move if it will support you in this process of alignment. Aligning physical, mental, and emotional bodies with all-pervading soul or higher self and monadic galactic selves. For those beginning on your path, you might find it useful to sink a luminous thread from your root, your base, your womb space, down through the floor, the soils, the sands, the bedrock, the waters, into the molten core in the heart of Gaia. To connect with the planetary body, with our physical bodies, our earth suits for this earth walk. Everyone else activating the Earth Star 1 foot beneath the feet, connecting through the divergent meridians of the planetary body. The Rios de Luz of light. The Rios de Agua of water. The Rios de Fuego and fire. And the Rios de Oro of gold, metal. And inhaling up those primordial, elemental energies of creation in their purity and infinite potential, so that they may cleanse, clear, and purify, rejuvenate, regenerate, energize, and recalibrate our systems, strengthening our pillars, all the way up to the soul star, 1 foot or half a meter above the head, and inviting down our celestial elements into our terrestrial body, and igniting our golden toroidal fields and harmonizing our golden toroidal fields with the toroidal field of the planetary body. Inhaling, exhaling with sound, your own unique soul signature. Surrendering through the core of Source in the heart of Gaia, where the new earth architecture emerges. Knowing that from this space we are held. And when we are harmonized into this field, everyone else we may meet is also held by this space, by this frequency, and by this infinite potential of our becoming. Surrendering through the core of Source in our own heart spaces. Remembering what it is to live life at the pace of grace and the speed of love, in order to maintain this coherent connection and harmonic with the unified field. Surrendering through the core of Source in the heart of our sun. That's just released 2 CMEs to celebrate this new year and new moon. That will be impacting our planet in the next 24 to 48 hours, possibly creating auroras in the north and the south. Surrendering through the core of Source in the great central sun. through the core of Source in the heart of the moon, and through the heart of Theia, our original moon, parts of which are now embedded in the African continent, supporting this reawakening, supporting our connection to our roots. And activating our solar and lunar discs for those that have them activated within, harmonizing with the planetary solar and lunar discs. And surrendering through the core of Source in the galactic center, wherever that sits in your unique system and field, be that through the navel in the physical body, or through the pineal, the third eye, our gateway to God, the all-seeing, the all-knowing, that part of ourselves that resides outside of time. And let us invite our ancient future selves into the now. We're going to take 3 breaths with sound, inhaling, exhaling the sound as we strengthen and fortify our own unique pillars. Inhaling, exhaling the sound as we strengthen and fortify our pillar in the point on the planet where we stand today. And inhaling, exhaling the sound as we unify the field around and through the planetary body, around and through our bodies. Calling forth our highest possible soul destiny and service to person, people, and planet in accordance with divine plan and divine will, in right relationship with these physical bodies and our human experience, and infused with health, wealth, and abundance into overflow. Kindness, empathy, compassion. Conscious community, deep intimacy, and love. Authenticity, creativity, synchronicity. And play, passion, and pleasure. As we weave today from the Pacific Ring of Fire, with much work that has been unfolding through the Pacific Triangle, through the Arctic and Antarctica, weaving with our Cetacean nation. As I hand you over to Casey to continue this connection.
Thank you, everyone. We will establish our field more directly, connecting now straight out to the source fields, allowing our field of expansion to grow beyond what one can bring into the field. We are now connected to the all, to the many. As we stand in this place of connection, anchored into our individual pillars, our unified pillar grows in all directions, allowing us to weave in the fields of data, of information, the knowledge banks that are available to all. We wish to bring into the field at this time the consciousness of the black moon or the shadow moon, understanding the bits of the unseen consciousness that are wishing to come forward in this space, allowing us this time, this pause to unburden unwind all the bits and pieces of the timelines that no longer mesh with where we are going, where we are headed. As we are in the void space, the great womb space, this is the place of unpacking, removing, the shedding out, the bits of density that no longer wish to go forward from past timelines of the earth and the human stories as well. This is the great releasing. Before the seeds of expansion can be fertilized and placed into the field. In order to step forward, we must first let go of what no longer belongs to us. This is that shadow time. It is the in-between. Where the concept of time and space gets to be rewritten. Where our consciousness can understand something different, something new that fits into our system. And helps us to align more fully to the greatest field that we are connected to. Welcoming into the field the Cetacean nation. The different star tribes. Those that are wishing to step forward at this time to give a hand to humanity and help us to step forward, our brothers and sisters. And welcoming into the field, Galactic GAIA. She encourages us to feel her presence as we want to understand the changes that are coming forward, allowing her to be part of the conversation. Calling in the origin codes for humanity. And calling in the possibility of all the strands of our DNA turning on and uplifting. As we are called forward into who we really are. Acknowledging our place among the greater. And understanding that we are part of the whole. Celebrating the small shifts that have been taking place before us. And understanding that they are just a crack of potential to what is coming. The possibility of the new that wishes to anchor in. When we are ready for our journey to begin today, we will anchor fully into our individual pillars, filling your place on the earth where you stand today. Adding gentle movement to your body, feeling the chair beneath you, breathing deeply into your chest, and opening our eyes and coming all the way in.
It's very beautiful. Thank you, Casey. I have to hand you over to Raylene to unpack this black moon for us.
Well, yeah, I'll be on the fly because I've only discovered it about 5 minutes ago. So just feeling into this new moon phase and what it means for us in that womb space of 2024 and moving into 2025, I discovered that there's a black moon, which it's a name that they use for moons. Like if we have the blue moon for the full moon, and then the new moon are black moons when you have two, but they're quite rare, and they're like leap years because our Gregorian calendar of 31 days doesn't match up with the 28-day cycle of moons. We get this overflow of which creates the black moon, if that makes sense. So it's just how they round up the dates with the introduced calendar and fitting it into the natural lunar cycle. But for me, it feels even more because apparently they are so potent, I'm just discovering, and they're a container or a womb space is what I'm feeling for incredible birthing of not just who we are and what we're learning of to reclaim and remember, but also the whole dynamic of this is that it's shifting. For me, what I'm feeling is it's shifting everything that has been coveted with the moon and the womb space has an opportunity to be freed up is what I'm getting. So we're looking at how moon cycles and even our blood have been influenced by coveting energy for millennia. And this is an opportunity to go within and free ourselves up from anything that isn't working with our innate technology of birthing, of creatrix patterns, divine creatrix patterns, not introduced or overriding creatrix patterns. So here we have an opportunity, I'm feeling, or what I would like to claim from this black moon, that here's an opportunity to go in and really work with unhindered our full creatrix patterns, our womb gates. Our originator gates are our womb gates, and these are the parts of ourselves that are able to move freely through universal time matrix unhindered without any trapping mechanisms of being anything less than who we are with our divine architecture. So today, this feels very potent as a crossing over, but also I've been hearing in the last few days that we've entered into the Great Glide. So even though in the externals, it seems that the frenetic timing is still upon us, we can always find this incredible glide where we are moving through the slipstreams of our dimensionality, and it's as if it's an invitation to move into the Great Glide where we're gliding through now, and in a sense, as you know, sovereigns and guardians of Gaia Galactica, it is our role, for want of a better word, to claim this for ourselves. To, you know, it only takes that one step more to ground and alchemize for the whole also, but for us to know that nature supports us, and not just nature on the earth. I mean, it's in Capricorn, so we have this real opportunity to bring it to the earth now, to really anchor and alchemize our whole here on Gaia. And in the galactic sense, that, you know, we're gliding through these galactic gateways now, and we're holding space for others to come on board, you know, more the merrier. So that's
beautiful. Yeah, thank you, Aileen. It feels like the infinite potential of creation has just been reopened for us. And I even found coming up to this new moon, there were certain things that were waiting to be addressed and initiated, and all of them had to wait till today, literally on this moon. And we're also gathering today. It's just 3 minutes from the actual point of the new moon at 11:27 in Aotearoa, which is also quite interesting. And the Phoenix has been very present on this journey of the last 2 weeks. I know you were in Uluru, and I was taken up to Kapo Wairoa, which is Spirit's Bay at the top of Aotearoa, where the souls leave the land once they leave their body. And it's a very beautiful and very sacred energy field. There's one at the top of the North Island and also one at the top of Te Waipounamu at the top of the South Island as well for this role. And while I was up there, a weaving began, of which I was shown there is 7 parts too. And it's really interesting because the first parts came through on the 20th and 21st of December here in Aotearoa. And it was across the Pacific Triangle from Aotearoa to Rapanui to Hawaii. So that triangulation was, let me see if I can get the words right, was reigniting from the inner earth out. And it's been happening in 7 stages, is what I'm understanding. 2 happened 20th, 21st. Since then, another 4 stages have completed. And after each stage, there's another reconnection between the Arctic and Antarctica, reconnecting the northern and southern hemispheres. And from what I'm understanding, the 7th weaving will come through on the 3rd of December here in Aotearoa, the 2nd of December and other points on the planet. And it feels very connected to the rising of the continent we know as Mu, once again in the Pacific. And I'm wondering if anybody else has any more to contribute to that weaving, for it may be connected with why Raylene was in Uluru.
Yes, well, the exit and entry gates of our planet, of which there are many that lead to different star systems and planetary bodies, are really coming online in us. So, in other words, it's like where this glide that I'm referring to is us really getting to understand our entry and exit gates, where we came in, where we shall leave from, but not just in this lifetime. And they do change. According to consciousness, the gates will change in the body and they will change in relation to the planetary body. So it's key for us to know where these golden keys are, these doorways, these gateways. Just now in Uluru, I was doing a ceremony which was rather spontaneous and one I've never done before, but it was a sweeping ceremony with branches, But instead of sweeping the red soil, the earth, I was sweeping stars. And the place where I was at is called Attila, and it's a birthing nursery it's a stellar nursery of birthing souls that come through. The thing with Uluru is it's incredibly layered, and according to an initiatic process through the Ananu, the guardians of that area, people are initiated into the storytelling, which we respect, yet it's an interesting journey we're on, because a lot of us are remembering ourselves in these places. So one wants to be respectful and follow protocol, yet at the same time our bodies are moving ourselves in particular ways, and we are brought to these places at these times and these junctures for purpose. And so it is a balancing act of holding that, I must say. But it all weaves in with a dance. And what I feel for me, as you speak, it's what's been coming up a lot, and what has been lifted yet again through this solstice is the lifting of another veil. And yes, it's the dance of the 7 veils. And this is the rainbow bridge, and this is the rainbow dance, which is spiralic. And it moves us through these greater galactic cycles. And so I could speak a lot about all that, but I will just say, just on some of these points, yes. And Rapanui is really on my radar right now, very strongly. And we know that anything that is done in threes pulls things out of duality, reality, and polarity pull in us. So we're able to hold this tripod, which is an even more potent grounding rod for ourselves, because we haven't come here to just get off on mulling around in the stars. We've come here to really bring everything in through this vehicle, through this beautiful vessel. And so the other thing that's happening with that particular triangulation that you're, or triuning that you're mentioning, is that it's anchoring in what I call the mother, father, child principle. So it's not just the male-female balance that we've come to know as 2 sides. This triuning goes deeper, and it's in us. And at a planetary level, and what I feel you're referring to is what's called the ring of fire and ice, which is a potential of, in the ice is the primordial coding, and within the fire that does not consume is a way for us to ignite our eternal flame. It doesn't matter what dimension we're in, what we're subscribing to as roles or designations, or the quest for identity. This in our essence is who we are, and we bring it wherever we are, universally. And so the gates universally are opening up and are interconnecting now. We're not just knowing ourselves as galactic citizens or cosmic citizens or universal citizens. We are opening up gateways inside ourselves that haven't happened for a very long time. And a lot of this through the Lemurian and the Hyperborean gateways is clearing or paving the way to do what wasn't done in Atlantean times, and for us to free up our it's a lot of the stuff around catastrophobia in lifetimes, and freeing up the cellular memory to really, really anchor in as our Christic seeds. And this is the seeding that's happening. And Orion is the Orionic seed coder, and Mintaka holds the seeding for this, for our universe. Now, I've also spoken last time about Andromeda and our Milky Way galaxy linking up now. You know, there are interconnecting confluences. These are like celestial rivers, confluences that have been dammed and hijacked, for want of a better word. But they are now in free flow, and we're in free flow. So I've danced around a bit, but I've planted some seeds for you to feel into and remember, you know, the dismembered parts of self. But this was a big part of what happened for Uluru. It was a sweeping ceremony, and it was very beautiful, simple.
Beautiful. Thank you, Aileen. Reminds me when people ask, what do you do? And I said, well, really, just a cleaner. Be it on a personal level or a planetary level or a galactic, we're a bunch of cleaners.
Well, my answer is as little as possible.
Yeah.
Do without doing and everything gets done.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Any other contributions or questions to the field on this black moon from deep within the void?
I'm wondering, Raylene, or anyone else, if you could talk a little bit more about Rapanui.
Yeah,
it's an important point on the planet switchboard.
It's a very important point. And it links into so many places on the grid. You know, we have places like Wilpena Pound here in Australia, that basically all the points on the grid around our planet link into Wilpena Pound, and which is called Ikara in the local Aboriginal language. And Rapanui is like this too. I was surprised to go to Stonehenge and discover that there was a doorway, a direct connect doorway to Rapanui there, in its purity. And again, all these rivers connect up, you know, to the rivers in our celestial flow that I was just discussing. So, you know, the Rapanui, for me, it's about the eggs. You know, there's galactic eggs on Rapanui. And it's also to do with our inheritance from our connection with the giants, the race of giants that are our family, that are still here, and are making their presence known more and more. So I feel the Moa, or the Easter Island heads, are part of this remembrance. And there's a ceremony. There's a king every year, like a chieftain every year, and I really feel our planet's going to be moving back into chieftains, localized chieftains. And Rapanui, this is still very much alive. And they have to swim out. They have to climb down vines and swim out to this island that has birds that deliver an egg seasonally. And it's around September equinox that this occurs. And I'm trying to get there this year. That's one of my dreams. And basically they have to swim across, which is, you know, strong currents and waves, and then climb up this cliff face without breaking the egg. And so whoever succeeds in doing this becomes the king of Rapanui for that season. I'm not sure if it's a year or a few years, but it's a short period of time. But this is how it is decided there. Who, it's just not talk. That they walk their talk. There's some potent caves there that are incredible doorways into different stellar libraries. So it's an interesting place. And the person who I get a lot of my gifts from is my grandmother, who was a very potent medium and lived 4 days short of her 105th birthday. And she's buried in this most incredible place. And when it first came to me to go to Rapanui, I went to her grave and we had a little ceremony there, and I glanced across, and instead of a tombstone, there was a person who had a Moai, a Rapanui Easter Island head as a tombstone. And for me, that was her message, that you have to get there this time around. Get back there this time around. So your big, strong Lemurian connection with Rapanui. And it's about singers. It's about the crystal singers, the crystalline singers. And also this happens on the Giza Plateau. There are crystalline temples that the pillars are still there and jut out in the desert. And I've brought groups there to ignite the crystal singers. But these places, there are key places for the crystal singers to sing the key notes, in the melody of the soul and the key of the heart. And so Rapanui, I can say, is one of these places that sings that key note, that ignites, sends out the ignition around our planet. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. Thanks, Raylene. And just to add to that, there's also entrances on Rapanui to the inner Earth light cities.
Absolutely.
And Tiffany found it useful, I think, going through my Facebook photo album of Rapanui, because there's quite a lot of the photos contain the codes. And you'll see one in there. Somebody put a ceremonial headdress on my head for no apparent reason, but what it did is it awakened the memories that came from the elongated brain when it was placed on my head. So it's quite an extraordinary journey. And going through that photo album can help flick the switches on. And it's interesting that Raylene's been called there in September equinox, because that's when I'm being called to support a group through Egypt. Is September equinox 2025, and that weaving feels connected.
Yeah, well, this is the point. I'm tossing up between that one too in Egypt, because it's a very rare alignment there.
Yeah.
During that equinox. But as usual, we will be shown. There's also an interesting thing that happened. It was really hot at Uluru, and there was hardly anyone there in the daytime, or in the as the temperatures started to soar. So I got to drive around Uluru at 5 kilometers an hour, just seeing if there was anything new. I've been there about 35 times, out to the rock, and every time there's something mind-blowingly new that you think you've cracked the code on something, and then it's fathomless. And so there's a crystal skull at Uluru, and but the interesting thing, because of the play on light at that time of the day, I'd never seen this incredible woman who had Lemurian features and was wearing a long elongated headdress. with all honeycomb coating through it. So that's what was happening at the cells, and my head's tingling now as I'm talking about it. But that's just to tie that bit in, Lee, with you getting that headdress.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any more contributions or questions to the field in what's unfolding here today?
I would like to share. My name is Genevieve. Thank you, Raylene, for your transmission about the black moon. I was validating in my meditations this morning, which were very special. Like Leanne said, that I had an experience of there's things come available today that could only have come available today. And it's this slipstream experience my master guide shared with me when I was in my column of light. When I activated that column of light, he said, dear Donovan, imagine you are like a Superman gliding through the cosmos with a very relaxed anus. He's tantric. Absolutely effortless. Co-creation. Beginnings of bringing in new earth. And it's an experience in my body I've never felt before. And it's that feeling of slipstream. There's another word that you used. The glide. That experience is now available as human beings of true, effortless co-creation. And then last night I was with a GAIA priestess sister, and we were tuning in. We've been experiencing tremendous grief this week. Tremendous grief and fear. And we tuned in that it was the timelines of collapse, of fails of civilizations that have existed before and they failed. And there's this very deep embodied experience of terror that would happen again. And what the guide said, we were guided to release the fear, the terror of the fail. And my guide said, yes, this time it's new, this time it's different. And let yourself be lifted in the light. And in my column of light, my guidance was to feel as light, like, your body is light. Just feel pulled up in your column of light, where the resistance is released, is no more. And then about the black moon, I've been having this experience of screaming into a black void, the very intense emotions, and my guidance, the Babaji said, it is the black, there is in the moment in the toric field, there's a moment of power, tremendous power generation, where there is a black hole in the toric field that then switches polarity into an infinite white hole, infinite sunlight. And so my guidance this week has been, yes, scream into the black hole, but then allow the transmutation to happen. That imagine first you are screaming no with all your might, and then you are screaming yes, 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 yes. It is a moment, a transmutation, the infinite of the extreme dark into the extreme light. And so that is the opportunity. There's opportunity of transmutation in the now with this black moon is to transmute the infinite black hole experience into the infinite sun, a co-creation of the new.
Yes, and then something wonderful is created as the third component of the triune. Absolutely, Genevieve. Thank you for sharing with such might and gusto. It's important that we're authentic in our expressions in every moment. Thank you. And I would like to confirm, it's not something that I was wanting to bring up, but I will confirm that there has been a mass exodus yet again with some of the behaviours that went on during the end days of Atlantis And there's a big shift. And yes, it is different this time round. And it won't be repeated. I mean, a lot of when we get into this catastrophobia, not only of earth changes, but of the changing of the elements inside our own fields and forms, a lot of these memories come up once we access those frequencies again. And so we have this beautiful golden opportunity to integrate it all, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful, and know that if we were there, it doesn't matter what side we were on or what role we played, wittingly or unwittingly. And there's been a lot of that going on as well that we've all had to reckon with inside ourselves. But it's time now just to integrate it all. And again, that's all being transmuted and transfigured into something greater than those two suns. And this is part of what we're here to do. This is part of what we have signed up to do in this body, not running around trying to grab other bodies. We've decided we want to come here and do it in this body. And it's a great honoring of, upholding what we've come to do, no matter how tense it becomes. And as I said, the frenetic timing is upon us. And it's getting very rock and rolly out there. But inside, we have an opportunity to hold that still point. And as I said, ground and alchemize it for the whole, because it only takes that one step more to do it for all of humanity and all beings residing within and on the surface of our planet. We're holding it down. And it's simple. It's simple for the simple of heart, complicated for the crooked. And if we can hold that, then we know where we went wrong last time. So humor helps.
Thank you both. Anyone else have any contribution or questions for the field?
I don't know how I'm going to articulate the pieces of this. There's several things that came. I'm in Mexico at the moment, swimming. I don't know whether I've broken up. Am I still there?
Yes, you could.
Okay. So yeah, I was in the sea today in the Caribbean. And one of my favorite things when I'm in there is just allowing the water to hold me. And I have my ears immersed so I can just hear the sea. And I was in one that it's almost like being in a flotation tank, but you're in the sea. And if no one's done that, I recommend it. But what was coming in the energies of this ending of the year and this very potent new moon, was information coming to me of the releasing and the creation. And there were two pieces of sorry, there's dogs barking in the background.
That's a confirmation.
But there were two pieces. One was to do with letting go, and the other was to do with creation. And the creation piece, because that came first, even though you'd normally let go before you do the creating, but the way it came, there's a rite that I work with that comes from Peru that's called the rite of the womb. And I was shown this in this floating meditation. The wording or that goes with the transmission of the rite is the womb is not a place to store fear or pain. The womb is to create and give birth to life. And the essence and the energy behind it is that it was brought forward shamanically by women who had stepped beyond fear, pain, and suffering in order to give birth to the life that they want to create. And it just feels really potent to share that in the context of the energy of this new year and this new moon and this new world. So all that has caused us pain and suffering, as far as I believe, has no place in the new world. And on a bigger level, beyond the level of the new year, we're really being called to release everything that has caused us pain, suffering, fear. So I'd like to share that wording, and hopefully that comes through as some form of transmission and holding for people. And the letting go piece was in the form of a fire ceremony. And I know that we've been talking about fire and ice. And what came with it, because I was questioning, well, this right, because they kind of came hand in hand, that the information, and I'm like, well, normally there isn't a fire ceremony when doing that right, there's water. And the guidance that came, it was to do with Chantico, which is Chantico is a Aztec goddess. So she's a Mexican goddess. Her name means the one who resides in the house. And she, in the Aztec or Toltec tradition, is the feminine fire. So there's 4 fires in that tradition, and she's the feminine fire, the one who guards over the hearth, the prosperity and well-being of the household. And that seems to me to be linked also, the womb is like our house. And so a releasing through the feminine fire rather than the more in that tradition, and more masculine destructive fires. So that was information that was given to me in the ocean today, and I didn't know whether to share it, but as the longer I kept my mouth shut, the more my head was bursting. So I thought, well, I have to move that energy and share it. Normally I sit in the background and I don't speak. So yeah, I feel like to share that. And at the moment I'm in Playa del Carmen, but not long after the new year, we're going to move to Palenque, which is a very sacred, special place for me personally, but also holds a lot of codes. The Temple of Inscriptions there holds at least one of the Palladian Hall of Records. And I felt, again, just to share that piece, because I can't remember in the kind of Gregorian timeline, but within the last few years, there was a special gathering at Uluru to do with the magic box. I can't remember what year that was, but that was it 2020 or 21?
2020.
2020. St. January was January, wasn't it? And we were at Palenque, and we did ceremony there, sitting on the temple that faces the Temple of Inscriptions, which is the Palladian temple. And we tuned in to that ceremony at Uluru. So somehow, I don't know, they felt like a connection to Palenque and Uluru, and to bring that in as well, because that's where we're going next. And there's something of pulling the threads together. It's also on the plume serpent energy line of the planet. So that's my sharing.
And where are you now?
Playa del Carmen on the east coast of Mexico.
Yeah, I thought so.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Tiffany, for bringing that in here, because I think for many of us, we had to do a lot of clearing and work to make space for the new until we reached a certain vibration, and then we could start actually rewriting from source. And I had an extraordinary experience when that first happened to me with a sister on Molokai in Hawaii, that we didn't have to do all the hard work clearing. We could actually rewrite from source. And it feels like what's open for us today in this opening of the infinite potential of creation, it's opening that capacity to rewrite from source more directly for more people. And that is going to accelerate the evolutionary process on and the awakening process on our planet quite quantumly into this new year that we're coming into. And you're weaving in Palenque. I'm wondering if it's also around the 3rd, because there's lots of things that have been rescheduled. I was just with Kasha yesterday, and we did the Seeds of New Earth gathering in Poland in the heart of Europe many years ago, maybe 2017 or so, at a sound temple. And Kasha's meeting with Huza from the sound temple has also been rescheduled to the 3rd of January. So there's a weaving that's going to connect a lot of dots in the next few days around the planet in this next shift that we're going through. Wow, exciting.
Leanne, just something wants to be said about those tri-points of mu you mentioned. They're having, and it's connected to what you're speaking about now, the rewriting from source. There's a recoding that's going on those location points, anchoring in different vibration, but because they're connected to Mu and Lemuria, they're bringing in specific coding. They're like the strongest connection on the points of the earth that are there now to bring in this new webbing that wishes to come forward. And it's also connected to what you were just speaking about, rewriting from source. Those that are from those timelines, there's that gateway that's opening up for all of us, of course, but it's strengthened in the ones that are still connected to those points.
That's beautiful. Thanks for bringing that in, Casey, because instead of Koyopa through my system when that happened, it literally strengthened and fortified the like architecture of my system as you spoke into it.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. How
Yeah,
exciting.
we're grounding the constellations in our body, and it's doors are flying open within and without as a result. And I would like to say that when we're talking about male and female and the fire and the water, the way that elements, our elemental and molecular structure is shifting is that these ideas of gender roles are interchangeable. And I would also like to say that when we enter through the entry gates that I was discussing, our entry gates as a soul and our exit gates as a soul, as source coded beings, is what I'm saying. We naturally activate, organically activate our galactic womb overlays. And I would like to add that this is in all of us. So this architecture is in what we're seeing at a 3D level of men and women have a galactic womb gate and a galactic overlay because of this purpose. I would also like to say that in Indigenous law in Australia, that the sun is feminine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the earth gives birth to the sun through Nalgawati, the great solar cord. And this was part of the ceremony that was interrupted by the Mulla people, who are the hair wallaby tribes. And there was a demon dingo dog called Kapulcha, and he chased them across the land and interrupted their Inma, this ceremony. It's part of the Magic Box story. And he chased them across the land. This woke up Wanampi, rainbow serpent, and he said, "Jump on my back," and he took them across the dreaming tracks and the song lines, and he nearly caught up to them. But then when Umpy took off into the ocean, and he was left on the shore howling, and she took on her journey, and her journey took her first to Flinders Island, and then over and across to Lake Titicaca, where a beautiful ceremony of male female weaving took place with the plume serpent, and then they took off in their directions to create the figure 8 patterns around our planet with the dragon nodal points. And then they come together again for a second time in Uluwatu Temple on Bali, and they come up through the floor of that temple and do this whole mating dance again, and then go off on their way, weaving through the figure 8 patterns around our planet. So we can see that, I think I mentioned last time, the whole periodic table is being changed. A whole lot of new elements are coming on board. Excuse me, a whole lot of new minerals are coming on board and are being unearthed. A lot of the way we interact now is not at a 3D level, elementally and molecularly. I've got a big throat thing happening here. So there's a big change happening. I think I need to speak something in light language. Is that okay? Just to clear this.
Mm-hmm.
And if everyone can just do this. And just we're going to do with the vowels A, E, I, O, U, because it's something that's clearing in our group that wants to be expressed. So mama, 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 me, 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 mo, 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 mo. Mama, if everyone can start to do it. Mama, 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 me, 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 mo, 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 mo. Yeah, it's good. Mama, 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 me, 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 mo, 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 mo. Okay, that's clearing. And if you feel anything that's coming up and it feels like there's drossy stuff, your hand like this, and you make this sound with great gusto. Hooya! Now, this is a Lemurian thing to shatter any discordant energies, anything that's not meant to be in the field. Hooya! Okay, so mama, 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 me, 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 mo, 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 mo. Okay. Upapayana hara tuku ori e te te ana. Isha e tuku ora te tayana. E popapapaya te 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 te. Ora te ki era te kayana hora te 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 tuku u esta kataya te ki e ora te ta aro tuki. Irana aro tuku ora te te e te ta 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 ta. Quit, koia na haru tuku uri e te, o toko ora te, I hoi no ora tuku oi e te ke e a toko ora na oi e te, I hoi na aru tuku I e ta kai e a toko ora tu I a na haru tuku I e a haru tuku I e a haru tuku oi. He ana to ora he a he o to ko I ana aro to te e ta ka aro to ko I ta ko papa pai na aro to ko oro to ko I e o to ko oro ti e oro ti ki ana he ana ho oro to ko hi te te ki ta ka ana aro to ko ori te. So this is a Lemurian blessing, and it was very, very much coming from a heart space of gratitude for who you all are and what you're holding for this juncture, and to know that you are not only free, you are in enlivening freedom itself, and your eternal light is igniting not only the grids of this planet, but the source code itself is igniting everything now. Everything. When we step in as source guided beings with source code fully and with full intent that that's what we're entering a space in, no more, no less, everyone steps aside and allows us to be in that space. Every being within every dimensional realm, in every universal existence, must uphold this principle. And so this was a gratitude for all of us stepping into this fully and freely now, unhindered. And that was a blessing and a gratitude for all that we're holding now in this potent container, for want of a better word, today.
Can I just add something here too, please? And thank you, Raylene. That was very profound. I felt that really, really deeply. I'm just aware of the information you gave us before about the CMEs coming from the sun. And I'm feeling these light codes very, very strongly, and that they've stepped up another level and they've changed. And they are targeting the waters within the planet and contained within the waters of the planet. And of course, we are mostly water, so it is contained within us, these codes through the water within us. And I had a picture of water as H2O, and it's 2 hydrogen atoms and an oxygen atom, and there is the Holy Trinity, of course, that we're talking about as well too. So that Holy Trinity feels like an important, complete system through which we can meditate as well too. I usually meditate from my heart space as well too, but I always contain those 3 elements within the heart space as well too. But I just wanted to share that, the feeling that I'm having from these light codes from the sun at the moment, and the connection with the water as well too. So thank you. And I also really related to your light language, but this gesture that you made, whoa, that is Lemurian, and I feel that very, very strongly. And I feel like you've given me back a gift of something that I've remembered again. So thank you. Yeah, and God bless you.
Thank you. Yes, we all remember this stuff, and as we walk the land and we swim in the seas, we put back the dismembered parts of self, and yet here we are today, getting a huge influx of what it is to remember ourselves as source-guided beings. And yes, it is our beloved Cetacean are just incredible beings. What they're doing, they're working with those solar impulsing, which, as I say now, we're not spiking anymore. We're not having Schumann spikes and solar flare spikings. We're live streaming now all the time, and the way that they do that, the cetaceans do, is that they transform the solar plasma, and that's hitting our planet, which is a water body. And we are the way of water. We are the way of water. And what the whales do is, as that beautiful alchemical dance between the sun and our oceans, alchemize, that hydroplasma is taken out around the world through song by the cetaceans at an impulse rate that we can assimilate and absorb through our bodies. Now, in the last 30 hours, we have received 32 M class flares and 2 X class flares. This is phenomenal. This is phenomenal what our bodies of light are holding now through our own hydroplasma, interfacing with that of the oceans on the surface. And as we know Tani Mahuta and Aotearoa is holding it down as the gateway into the ocean within the center of our planet, and which regulates all the oceans on the surface of our planet. So this hydroplasma coming in through the inner gates of our planet, we've got to go in to get out. All the indigenous clans knew that you have to go on the starry canoe, or the great solar barge, through in the underworld to get back to the stars. This is the journey that we take. And so the waters are really, really important for us. It's innate, it's intrinsic with everything that we're doing. And what is water? It's condensed light. It's just light in a condensed form. And so when we look to the sun, and we see now that there's all these stars shimmering and glowing in rainbow patterns on our water that are just becoming more and more vivid and more intensified, because it's responding to the light and stellar codes in us, in our solar plasma, our solar golden plasmic blood. The stars in our bones, they're all singing together now at a macro and micro symphony. So yeah, solar synthesis is upon us, and water is key. It's quintessential in us integrating the light that we're not just receiving. The sun is receiving our codes, and it is responding through this symphony that we're experiencing externally because of what is happening inside of us as suns. And this is what the blessing and the gratitude was in the light language, because it's not just an idea. I mean, our whole reality is shifting at a rate of knots because of what we're claiming now and what we're holding, what we're choosing to really hold. And of course, I would be going offline right then, because that's a powerful thing for us to claim for ourselves, to know in our heart of hearts that that's what's happening, and that everything outside of us is responding in like kind.
What a gift today's journey has been. Thank you all so very much for your presence. For all those who have joined us, those who have yet to join us, and those that may tap into this recording that is timeless, at this turning over of time that is upon us now. And I'm wondering, before we close today, if Talia may have a soul song for us from the deep south of Tiwai Panamu.
Yay.
Because there is such a gift in your soul song that is received by many, supporting them to remember their own.
I've just been feeling the ancestors of Rapanui, so I feel like I'd want to dedicate it to them.
What a beautiful gift to complete our journey today. And at the end of your offering, Talia, I had an image of one of the next wave of the incoming galactic babies playing in their cot.
That's what I got.
Connection to the star.
I heard the first cry out of this newborn baby at the moment you stopped. Just this newborn baby taking its first breath and doing its karanga.
Yeah, how beautiful. Wow. So that's a lot to digest today. Be gentle with yourselves, drink plenty of water, and where possible, immerse your beautiful bodies in the earth waters to support the harmony and integration of all of these gifts that everyone has shared today. Special thanks to our dogs that came in through Tiffany's call. And for our cats, Nuri is sitting there with her beautiful cat on her lap in Ibiza. And I've just come back from the SPCA to meet the new cat that will be joining our house. And her name is Zay Lee, which is both a Greek name and an Arabic name for grace. And Zayli is all about nature and connection with nature. And she's the new incoming that is destined to arrive here on the 3rd of January as this weaving completes around the planet. Tiny little cat, but an enormous soul embodied thereof. So, as we arrive fully untacked onto the earth plane, I would love to pass you over to Casey to bring closure for today's journey. This magical weaving from all four corners, all continents represented. North Central America, we have UK, Europe, all the way to Australasia and through Asia. So what a gift. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for being here with us. We'll gently close down the field of connection that we have created so beautifully together, understanding that we are always connected to Source through our pillars of light, that we are light. Thanking for the connection to the ancestors today and for them beautifully showing up in all the forms that we may receive them. Thank you for those light codes dropping in from Source, from the sun, from our galactic families, and understanding that we are on an ever winding journey, and this is just a step towards that direction of where we are headed. In connection fields, allowing us to strengthen our connection with our soul families is the reason why we connect on these fields. It helps to sustain our individual energy and the energy of the collective as well. And to remember that we are never alone on our life path, that we are with our family, we are connected to others at all times. With so much gratitude, we will begin our earth journeys, coming back to our individual pillars, anchoring onto the earth plane for which we stand, connecting to Gaia with our hearts full and our arms open, ready to receive. And when you are ready to anchor in your physical body a little bit more, feel your feet on the ground, wiggle your toes, giving gratitude for your human self, wiggling your fingers, adding a little bit more breath of life into your body, and choosing to come all the way back in.
Beautiful. Thank you, Case. And just handing you over to Raylene, when we met 1 month ago on the first new moon at the beginning of December, Raylene gave me 2 pictures. One was a thumbnail for our meeting at that new moon. The other one wanted to be the thumbnail of this new moon. And it's a constellation of light language. So maybe, Raylene, you'd like to speak into that because everyone's going to get to see it on the front of this video when we load it up.
Oh, are you putting it up on the screen now?
I wasn't going to put up on the screen, but if you want to, I can probably.
Yeah, I'm just, which one was it? I can't remember which we put up last time.
Okay, let me just push
Gonna put
forward
up.
and I'll go. Go ahead, Rayleigh. If you'd like to start talking about it, I'll go find it.
Yeah, so these codes came to me around 2005, 2006. I was staying near Pasadena in California, and was up most of the night with downloads. And I mean, to go back a step, I had pneumonia and pleurisy and was bedridden for a month, with my feet on fire and my hands on fire and not knowing what this was about. And then I got told that I would start to work in under the oceans with the oceanic grids. And this this then fast-tracked to being awake all night in Los Angeles, or out of Los Angeles, and got downloads of this particular piece. They're called dolphin dreaming temples, but they were actually original Atlantean Lemurian temples. But then the Cetaceans took over when we fell into forgetfulness, and they've been maintaining these 12 temples all around our planet. So they're in 12 key places. They're oceanic grids, but they also link in with land grids as well. And they represent 12 temples of oceanic consciousness. And these temples were actually shut down at the end of the Atlantean epoch for safekeeping. So not fully shut down, but just as a minimum flow aperture. So there are places on the planet where these are flowing. They are incrementally opening up with their flow, their aperture flow. And the diamond in the center is our spiritual dimensions of Gaia Galactica, known as Shambhala, or this is the Shambhala diamond. And it according to our consciousness, our oceanic consciousness open up, it increases its spin. And yeah, as I said, these are all over our planet. If we look at if it was a clock face, 5 o'clock actually is Rapanui, the symbol for Rapanui. And the name of it is Tubaiko Nariku. Tubaiko Nariku. And Nariku is coming. It is a one that's coming. Basically, what it means is one who is coming from royal stellar lineages. Tubaiko Nariku. And Nariku is a stellar lineage. So they represent the 12 as one. So if one of these, what we call now dolphin dreaming temples, but so yeah, I'm back. So yeah, it's 12 as one. So we can call this when Atlantis, the last fall of Atlantis, the children of the One Heart race took the knowledge for safekeeping to the 4 corners of our earth, and they're all returning now together. So within the 4 colours of the red, the white, the black and the yellow, there are 3 core groups or tribes. And this is, in a sense, the true meaning of the lost tribes, and no longer lost. They are, they're walking, they're earth walking back to each other, and there's an exchanging now of codes and of culture and law. LAW, as this the 12 as one is the law of one, and also the law, LORE, the law that's being shared, the earth and stellar law amongst the 4 colour races and these 3 groups of making up the 12 tribes. So that's I usually teach this as a workshop on the island of Bimini, which is in the Bahamas and part of the Bermuda Triangle, and is steeped in the law of Atlantis. But yeah, this is Tubaiko Nariku.
Beautiful. Thank you, Raylene, and thank you, everybody. Journey well into the new Gregorian on the wings of love. And we'll see you on the other side.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.